All right, we'll get started. So good to have you all in our session today on creating instructional videos. Now, I must tell you that there are lots of ways to do this. All right, but the way that we'll focus on today is just using a tool that you all are probably familiar with, which is PowerPoint. All right. Now, before we get to using PowerPoint, I just want to say that if you want to use your camera in terms of being on the screen, there are just some tips that I want to share with you. And one of the first things is to always maintain eye contact with your camera. Sometimes you are tempted to talk to the screen because that's where the persons are. Like for right now, my screen is down low, so if I look at your faces, I'm looking down. But yes, but if I'm talking to the camera, I'm talking to the students. Good morning, students. Today, our lesson will be about, you want to remember to keep eye contact with that camera circle on your, whether it's your laptop or your tablet, or if even you have an external webcam, you want to maintain that eye contact with the camera, glancing down to your notes every once in a while, glancing down if you're doing live classes with participants or whatever the case may be. But try to keep that eye contact. Cause see, I know you can see me looking right in your eyeball now, right? And it creates, right, and for the students on the other end, it's just them. They really feel like if it's a one-on-one session with the teacher, because now I feel like they feel as if, hey, I'm talking to you. Okay, so that's one of the first steps. Now I know some of you may not be comfortable with recording on camera, you don't want to be seen or whatever the case may be. I must say, after doing this a while, I had to get over it in my mind too, that wait, but this is what people see on a normal basis. When I teach in front of my class every day, this is what my students see anyway. And it's kind of good to see, wait, what? That's how I look when I pronounce that word. It does make you feel a bit more self-conscious, but, it's something nice to get to, and it adds that personal touch, that personal feeling in the classroom, especially now that we are away from the students and everything right now, the students' electronic platform. They'll be inundated with PowerPoint presentations and online activities and online games, but giving them the opportunity now to see, it might not be their real teacher, but actually a real teacher, whether it's in real time in terms of it being a live session, or if it is being recorded to be played later. So I want to encourage you. I know some of you feel as if, that's okay, I'll just do voiceover. I don't want my face to be seen during the lesson. That's totally okay. But I want to encourage you to, turn the camera on one day, okay? And the next thing too, when it comes to your lessons, when you present, is to always try to keep a conversational tone. Okay, when it comes to the videos and the instructional videos, just how you would explain it in your class, you would not be a Siri in the front of your class. You will not be, first, take the 1, carry it over to the tens place. You will not do that in real life. And the students will not process that if you try to do that right now with your video lessons. So just how you would explain, and you could say, exactly, you can say, because it's real, and it's showing the thought process that's taking into it, and the students feel as if they're actually a part of this lesson. You do rhetorical thinking, but you do it out loud. You ask questions to the students, like you say, you don't expect an answer, and you be like, very good, you're right. And let's try that again, even though you don't really get a response if it's a recording, all right? And so you want to keep that conversational tone solid. And if you are anything, well, you know that these young people right now, they live in YouTube. They follow the bloggers. And if you look at how these videos are structured, It's all conversation, that conversational tone. They have their camera on, and sometimes that's all they see. They don't even show anything in the background, a PowerPoint or whatever the case may be. Now, for my primary people, if there is something in your lesson that you want to show that is actually real, but let me not say primary, because it probably could be for any one of you too, depending on your subject area. And you can say, all right, I'm going to show you some flashcards. I know the easiest thing right now is to go to PowerPoint, put those flashcards on, and spin them around. But in this, like I say, in this particular environment right now, you have many options. And I must say, if you do it live like this, record like this, it's easier. It's way easier than having to prepare a PowerPoint lesson. Plus, do the voiceover, the recording. Now, I know you've already been working, but just keep that in mind. Okay, we'll do another session on how to record you like this. All right, and then you can do some sort, if you have an experiment, you'll be like, okay, so let's take a look at these two pens. We will compare and contrast these two pens. How are they alike? How are they different? So that was just to give you a little encouragement to go on camera every once in a while within your lesson, okay? Now, how do we take your regular PowerPoint lessons and convert them to video, or how do we make them more suitable, I guess, for the video format? So I'm going to share my screen right now with a PowerPoint that I created some time ago. All right, and this is how we normally do PowerPoint when we're teaching our class, or if this is a PowerPoint that we're sharing with our students. We tend to put all of the text on the screen, all of the words that we want the students to know, we put it on the screen, in sentence forms or bullet forms, and you can see this here. And if you notice with this particular PowerPoint, it's a lot of graphics. Oh, wow, it's rain. We have a lot of graphics to represent, a bit of what the content is on the slide. And this would be a great piece to send students for individual study. Like, I could save this now as a PDF. It's all about resources. I could save this as a PDF and send it off to students, and it opens up like an ebook. And it has all of the content that they would need in sentence form, the notes, and then these nice, vibrant, real images too, that they can connect with. Because, a lot of us are visual, and they will connect. Wait, I remember that it was on the slide with the person holding the seeds. And it helps to give clues for the students, and, it sets up, or I should say, ingrains it in their mind a bit more. Okay, now, this is one of the lessons, like I say, that I would use if I was sharing this PowerPoint with all of the content on the screen. Now, when I want to convert this or create this now for a video lesson, here is one of the things that I want you to remember. You do not have to write on the screen or type on the screen what it is that you intend to say. I know that you've been to presentations before where the person is presenting and they have content on the PowerPoint, and what they do as they speak, they summarize the content, but we're busy reading what's on the screen, right? You know that? And once you see text, you will start reading that text because you want to see what that text is. And so then you kind of zero out in what the person was actually saying. So how do we work around that? So I'm going to take this very same lesson, and I started reworking the slides. Reworking the slides to show you how you can make the most of what you have now But since you're using voiceover and you're talking, you want the person to listen to what you say. And the presentation is really to reinforce some of the key things that you are speaking, okay, with the things that you were saying. So I'll go in PowerPoint mode just so that you can see, because animations are also very important in this stage of the game. Now I just need someone to grab the mic and make sure, tell me, because you disappeared once I went into the screen. This full PowerPoint. Do you see my head, my title page resources?
Yes.
Great. So my lesson, and I'm reteaching my lesson. Today's lesson is on resources. A natural resource is something you find in nature or on earth that people can use to meet their needs. So, what are natural resources anyway? There's air, water, soil, plants or trees, wildlife, coal, petroleum, natural gas, minerals. La la la. I'm not familiar with this content. I'm just, but you could figure it out, right? Then air. Air is a natural gas. So before I transition this, I'd probably say, let's look at them individually. Air. Air can be found, let me go back. Air can be found above the Earth's surface, and it's a mixture of gases. Living things need oxygen to survive and to breathe. Our next resource is wind. Wind is moving air that can be changed into electricity. The wind turns the blades for the windmill, which turns the wheels to produce electricity. Now that's as far as I got trying to redo that right quick for this particular session. But I want you to see, and some of you can tell me, what did you notice about the two presentations with the first slide? The same content, but different way of presenting it. Anyone want to grab the mic and talk about what you noticed with the difference between the two in terms of the building of the presentation?
Well, I noticed that the first presentation, it's more wordy. Like you said, that the minute you see text, you want to read. And so the student will focus more on what they have to read. And with the second presentation, it's more, you really have to focus on what you're saying, because we're waiting to get the content from you, the information from you.
Right.
So, but for me, I feel as though the student with the second presentation, students tends to be more engaged with more content. If we give them like points, they don't remember when it's time to present that back on an exam or something. They don't remember. I mean, that's me. That's how I find it to be with students. So right. I give them more content.
And so my suggestion with that, with wanting to give more content, let me just say that this particular lesson, I think, was a grade 4 or 5 science lesson when you look at the level of the content. But when you think about your subject area, then what you would do is you would build out your content. But the point is not to have, a whole paragraph or 3 paragraphs on the slide and say it's content. Perhaps you could take that 3 paragraphs and you can break it up into maybe across 6 slides so that you can, because remember the slides are really unlimited now.
Yes, that's what I normally do it.
So you can, each item or each point of that particular content that you want, whether you want to give more content, can be on its own slide and, some sort of visual representation of what it is.
Correct.
All right. So rather than listing, like for this one for example, rather than listing what is needed for why water is needed for, and listing the different things that we use water for. I could have this as a title slide, and then the very next slide, I have an image of a student, someone drinking, and then the word drinking.
Yes.
You know, because one of the things I like to do is have those keywords too on the screen, because it helps them with vocabulary, help them even with their reading skills. You know, it's not so much that we're taking all of the text away, but putting those key terms there would be important. And the next slide will show someone bathing, you know, cleaning, washing, and really break that down in that particular way.
Excellent.
All right. And so we see here, fuels are used to run engines, cars, trucks, in factories, power companies. And if this is something, when you think about your objective, if your objective is in your lesson is students need to identify at least 3 ways we use fuel, then I can have at least 3 images or slides or whatever to represent these particular things that we want the students to get. And if you break it up like that, when you think about, and always remember to start with your objectives. What is it that I want students to know at the end of this lesson? And you zero in on that and making sure that you represent that in a, you know, visual way, and even the way that you explain.
Sorry, excuse me, Ms. Wilson. So we would be putting, we would put our objectives in an objective slide at the beginning of the video. Like at the end of this lesson, student will be able to, et cetera.
Yes, and even you'd put a title slide, and then you have an objective slide. And because this is a video, you would not go so much into the, with 20% accuracy, the ABCD. Yeah, I know we get on you all for that. Hey, but just for this lesson, would you say by the end of this lesson, you will, because remember who you're talking to, not the students will, you will, identify whatever, explain whatever, whatever. And it could be short just like that. Because remember, this format now is intended for it to be as concise as possible, but delivering the most valuable information. Those objectives, sometimes when we write them out like that, is for us, the teachers.
Yes.
You know, but when we think about the students, setting them a purpose, your objective, your goal for watching this video is X, Y, Z. And another good practice that you can also do at the end, you could have an end slide in terms of a recap. Now, I know working with teachers with recap sometimes, what they end up doing is teaching the whole lesson all over again. So this is where you can put those bullet points on one slide, but don't go into explanation of those bullet points. Remember, this is video. The students can simply rewind and pause and fast forward. All right, I am always double tapping on YouTube to skip through people, and they will do that to you, okay? So now so this is the general design. Now for students, well, for anybody, well, especially students, I know that we like to use a lot of the clip art, you know, the animated images, and that's good to use, but try to mix it in with real photos, especially if you're teaching. It doesn't matter what subject you're teaching, if you could get real images, as well as try to make it authentic to our society, the Bahamian society. So you would want to look for things. If it's a dog, then look for a pot cake. That's what we know. You know, if it's a bird, you always go for the eagle, but please get one seagull and one pigeon. You understand? So like with this particular, because this was natural resources too, and I was right here just switching this out. I did this many years back, saying I need to switch this out, these images out, but like we don't have, you know, some of those things available to us in the Bahamas, but you know, as close as possible. What you want to do is, because now this is what separates your video from the video created in India. Because you know, we have a lot of those, and they're pretty good. They're pretty good. You know, I love especially the preschool and primary school videos, but what separates your content and the way that you deliver your content, what distinguishes it now to say that this was made in the Bahamas. Okay, so the examples that you use, like I said, just the images that you use, even if it's not Bahamas, but it's close, because I found a nice picture of one, I think it was this beach scene, and I think it was somewhere in Barbados, and I was like, hey, make it work. Because I wasn't speaking specifically about a particular beach in the Bahamas. I was talking about beaches and activity, you know, go into the beach and all of that. All right. Any questions or comments about that part?
Yes, if I can share with my content, I teach tourism, hospitality and tourism. So normally when I go on vacation, I will take my room, I'll take, like for instance, I went Auckland. So I stayed at Ivals and I took photos of Ivals and all of that. So when it's time now to teach on Airbnb, I will show my pictures with me walking on the beach, my room and all, and the student get excited. Oh, right. Look at Mr. Smith, look at Mr. Smith. So the pictures are real. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
To get them real engaged and active, they really enjoyed it.
It's true, because I know one time I was teaching on families and I put a picture of my family. I'm like, Miss Wilson, you have a mummy? Yeah. Normally you'll have, you know, the clip art. We take a clip art or we take a generic photo from some place or, you know, some stock photo, but, you know, using real images really make a difference. And it's something that they can connect to.
Sorry, one more point on the images, because, you know, with the world we're living in, when everybody has a law and a rule, and so do we just put, I don't own any rights, or I don't own the rights to this, if you use music or if you use pictures, or do you copyright all of the links for the pictures at the end of the slide or something?
Okay, so there's something called fair use, and perhaps let me share that with you right now. Fair use for education. That was coming up, but seeing that you asked that now, I can do that now. And this presentation was actually created by, well, it was compiled by Miss Wright in the writing unit. Let's give credit. And the design of it was done by Miss Debbie Johnson from Sandilands Primary. Okay, and now we had designed this not to be a video, but for this to be almost like an ebook, a PDF resource. So you'll see that it's real content heavy, okay? So let me see if I can pull out some of the key points. And what I will do, oh, most of you on computers? Anybody not on a computer?
Nope, I'm not on a computer.
Okay.
I'm on my phone.
Okay, it's okay. So for those of you who are on your computer, and then what I will also do is send it out as an email. I will actually share this file with you in the chat.
Ooh.
And you will be, you can take it out of the, download it right from in the chat. Let me find it. But this will also be available on the teacher's resource page on our virtual learning portal very shortly.
Sorry, from what chat? In what chat?
The chat box, there's a chat box on your Zoom window. Now, if you are on a small mobile device, you may not be able to see both of those, yeah, video and the chat. So that's what I'm saying. I'll just put it there for those of you who have access and those of you who, and I'll still send it out, I guess, through your officers or through email for you. Why can't I find this file now? Oh, here it is. All right, so it's uploading. It's about 4.3 megabytes. If you look inside the chat, if you have that feature on your Zoom, you will see I shared a file with you, and you can download it directly from there.
Yes,
Okay.
it's there.
So the rest of you, like I say, I will send it out to you. You can send your email to the case. I don't have it. That's easy. Put your email in the chat. And so there's this
How
thing.
long would that be there?
Where?
In the chat.
Once the meeting ends, then it goes away. But what I will do is I will send it out in the email, as well as this will also be placed on the teacher resource pages on the website that we're using for virtual learning. You know the website I'm talking about? Should know the website I'm talking about. Don't know the website I'm talking about. Let me show it to you right quick.
Or you can go on and download it now.
Yeah, I'm saying is if you can, you should
Yes,
download it now.
yes, yes.
But just in case you're on, you know, like I say, a phone and you want to know how to access this, you can come right here to our virtual learning platform. And I'm certain that you've all seen this. You go into teachers, and on the resource page, I will have this file. Okay, it's not there yet, but it will be here when I finish with this meeting. So yeah, I was talking about fair use. So with fair use in education, you can use content without, or I should say some things without permission and or without even having to give credit when it's for educational purposes, but it is for, you have some guidelines. Like number one, the purpose of them using it should be to share, is for education. So you cannot take, let's say, something from Pearson, a book from Pearson, and turn it into something, something from Pearson and do entertainment. Like you can't take that content directly from the book or from their page and use it for entertainment. And then most importantly, you can never ever, whatever it is that you create, you cannot sell. If it is for students, it should be made available to them for free. Now, even still with that, if the publisher has created this resource as a for-profit, like publishers, that's their business. They are an education company. They sell educational content. And so if you want to, so that's why you can't just take something from publishers. However, you could take them from, let's say, newspapers, magazines. You could take them off of using, let's say, if it's a website that's free, that doesn't need subscription, YouTube, any of those cases, you can use the content. But when we think about the, when you think about the, what was I saying, the published content that is published for sale for education, you don't have the right to do that. You understand? Yeah. So that's the whole purpose of the use. You can't be making a profit off of it. Now then we talk about the nature of the work, all right? If it is a consumable, meaning the book came out of the page that you want to share, came out of a workbook that students usually would have to buy. And this is normal copyright. You know, when we do it a lot, you know, we just copy the page and make copies for all of the students. You're now taking money away from that publisher, because rather than each student buying that book, you just bought one and copied the pages. So the nature of the work, it doesn't, you know, fair use does not allow for that. But we're talking specifically about this video now, trying to make sure that what we use is appropriate. And then it also talks, fair use talks about the amount of work, like literature teachers, you know that you have a book that you are reading for BJC or BGCSE. The intent is for the students to purchase that book. So you can't go and put up the whole chapter of a book for the students to read for those who do not have the content. But what you can do is you can take excerpts from the book, like, you know, a paragraph. And I see this is telling me here, a single chapter from a book, an individual article from a journal, an individual news article. You cannot go and take the entire piece and put it out there available for the students. Okay, especially if it's something because it's related to someone's profit, okay? And then, yeah, that's what I was talking about, effect on the use of the market for the original, how it will affect the person who is actually selling this piece. Now, when it comes to images, oh, okay. Now, images, let's go to my Google Chrome and show you my trick. No, it's not my trick, it's, wait, first of all, if you're using PowerPoint, let's go to here. Let me show you a safe way to find images on PowerPoint. Let's share the screen. Back to my PowerPoint here. Is when you go into insert pictures, and you can go right here to online pictures. And everything that Bing show you inside here is royalty free. You can use it. So if I need an apple, if you have an apple, if you want to use an apple, you can use any one of these without any issues, because Bing, see, it's a Creative Commons only. They're only putting out there what is free to use or approved for mass distribution and mass use. So that's a quick way for you to figure out about images. Now, the next way, when you want to find images that you can use, you can also go to those stock photos sites, go to stock photos, and they will also have a variety of free ones that you can use, and they're fine to use, as well as when you go to regular Google and you type in a picture, you type in a keyword, everyone can see my screen, and you say nature, well, that's what I was looking for. Go into this button right here that says tools, okay? And inside the tools, you will see usage rights. Usage rights. And you'll see that right initially, when you go to Google, it is not filtered by license. You have different licenses here. Labels with reuse, for reuse and modification, label for reuse, label for non-educational reuse, sorry, commercial, labels for non-commercial reuse. So you can filter through these and see what's available, and these are free to use. So they kind of give you some guidelines. And when they say reuse with modification, I could take this picture now and I could change that to black and white. I can add some more, you know, if I'm a Photoshop person and I wanted to add, put a building in there to make it look like if it is at this location, I can do that because that's modification. And it doesn't affect the owner or the photographer or the artist, whoever, because now it was labeled for reuse with modification. All right, and as you click through them, you'll see that some options are available and some aren't. And you see here what you have for free use in terms of drawing and clip art and all of that. All right, so that's something that you can look at when you do your Google search for your images, and that's the way to keep safe. But one of the things that I want to encourage you, especially, that was Mr. Smith who made that wonderful comment about going out and taking your own pictures. If you go out and you have images, and it would be great to share those images. And I think this is a great opportunity for us as educators to, perhaps create our own, perhaps maybe Bahamian photo bank that we can use for our use, especially if you're on the Family Islands, persons who are connected to the Family Islands. You can go out there and take us, well, not now that we're on the lockdown, but in the future, and take us some photos that we can use. And so when we want to talk about crabbing in Abaco, in Andros, yes, I saw your faces, in Andros, we actually have for real, a real photo. And I know some of you have some pictures of those already. So, why not share that? So listen out for how you'll be able to share those with us. And then you can think about how nice it would be to have this repository that we can just go to. And so I'm hoping too that this, breaks that, that spirit over teachers where we so mean, don't want to share anything that will break that spirit so that we can have access to more resources that can help us and our children.
Yes, I believe in networking. I love to share. That's what it's all about.
Now for the last part in this session, when it comes to actually how do we record the video in PowerPoint. So I'm back in PowerPoint. I don't remember which one. That's the old one I had, right? Inside PowerPoint, and when you go to slideshow, you would see an option here that says record slideshow, okay? And you just click on it and it actually goes into, slideshow mode. And you'll start to see a little counter to say that it is recording. And you record whatever content you want on that, like any audio that you want on that particular slide. Now I'm going to go to it very shortly, but I wanted to say a few things in terms of tips. When you're transitioning, like say everything that you want to say for this slide while you're on this slide. When, we put the transitions on the slide and it goes to the next slide, normally as teachers, we also transition with them and say, all right, so now we're going to look at, in PowerPoint, it cuts off the audio through the transition. So wait until you reach the second slide and it's loaded to start giving the content for the second slide, all right? And once you record, you'll see a button that says stop. And once you stop, end slideshow, the audio will be placed on each individual's slide. So let's say you made a mistake on slide, 4. You don't have to go and record the entire slideshow, the entire lesson again. You can just come here and you just want to record slideshow from this particular setting. From this particular slide. And it will ask you, it will let you know that a recording is already on this. Do you want to override it? And you will say yes. And you will then or record what it is that you want for that particular slide. Okay. And then finally, let's see. The reason I have to wait to do it because when it sends me into full screen mode. It just takes a while to load on my side. I'm using multiple displays here, all right? Now, if you are using a Mac, what I've found is the audio doesn't record during the slideshow, okay? I can do a separate video for persons using Mac, but I know that most persons are using PC. Now, I'm using a Mac, that's all I have access to right now. But if this was your PC, you would see the same thing here. And at the top around here somewhere, you will see the recording timer. And then at the bottom, you will also see like the mic volume moving as you talk, all right? And so I'm just gonna progress through this, pretending as if I was recording with audio. End of slideshow, click exit to end. And you will talk through each slide and whatever the case may be, and then you go on to the next slide and Then you go to the next slide and you talk about what it is that you're doing. You go to the next slide. Now, once you're done, you'll see a window open like this. And you'll notice on it, it shows you, I spent 48 seconds on this slide, 1 second here. And yes, that's because I ran through it. And if I wanted to, I can come back and change the narration on this particular slide and just go right back to slideshow, okay? Any questions on that part? You'll try it out and you'll see that it's fairly simple. I mean, that's all it is. It's just that you're reading or you're giving the content now, talking about the slide as if you were teaching the lesson. And PowerPoint is doing all the recording on the back end for you, okay? Now when you're done and you're satisfied, you know, you can play it from the start. And I want to play it from current slide. It will also play now with the rehearsed timing and the rehearsed and the narration. But like I said, my audio wasn't on with this because the Mac version doesn't allow for the audio recording on the PowerPoint. Okay, so now that you have this, you come here to, I think I need to now share my file. I think I have to share the full screen. Do you see my file drop down box? Can you see that?
Yes.
All right. So in file, you would either go to, export. Export, you will change the format to an MP4 or MOV. For the most common file format would be the MP4. All right. And once you select the MP4, these two are the video formats here available in from PowerPoint. Like I said, MP4 is most commonly used. And you don't have to worry too much about these settings, but here's what's important. Ensure that you have this selected. Use recorded timings and narration. All right. Which also means that if I deselect this, it will record it as a video, but it will say 5 minutes on the slide, 10 minutes on the slide, but you don't get any audio, okay? So this is letting me know seconds spent on each slide without a set timing. So like how my number 1 and number 2, number 3 didn't have a set timing because I didn't record that, it will automatically be played for whatever seconds that we set inside here. And then after that, you know, you give it a nice file name, whatever it is that you want to name it, and then you press export. And for the most part, you will see at the bottom of the screen, PowerPoint is converting this into an MP4. And depending on how big the file is, depending on, you know, various things, it may take long or it may take a short while. But this, of course, this converting is no internet required because it's doing this internally on your computer. All right. And so while that is converting in the background, I can take some questions. Don't tell me I was that clear.
Morning. I have a question.
Sure.
In reference to the transitioning, okay, say I'm on the initial slide where I'm giving them the topic and the objectives of the lesson. Do I have to press the arrow down key to go to the next slide as usual?
Yes, sorry about that. I'm mentioning that. Yes, you still control the your presentation in terms of the timing. So okay. I would suggest that, you know, sometimes we put a timing on the transition or the timing on the slide. I suggest that you don't do that. Okay. Because sometimes, you know, you talk longer, you talk shorter, or whatever the case may be. You keep control of your presentation. And like I say, even if you want to present a lot of content, try to, if you do it in bullet form, don't let all of the bullets apply one time. Okay. Or come up at one time. Let them come up one at a time. you know, and you say it's just a matter of clicking, click, click, click. So you can have a million slides in your slideshow, and that still comes up to about 3 minutes or 4 minutes. It's according to how you show your content.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Well, for me personally, I think I would have to actually practice it. Or I have questions. I'm saying the process of what you're saying, but I have to actually do it and get stuck and then question you. But so far, it seemed to be straightforward.
Okay, I totally understand. And so what we also can do is we can also have a follow-up session, you know, and you can come out and say that what are some of your challenges, what worked for you, and then we could learn from each other. So we don't have to just hear me talking the whole time. You would now have some experience with it, and we can talk about it again. So we know that today is Wednesday. Today is Wednesday?
Yes. Yes, it's
Yes,
Wilson.
it
Listen, it's a blur. It's been a blur.
Yes.
Right, Ms.
Yes.
Wilson. So when we're done with our video, Ms. Wilson, would we be able to send it to you personally, just for you to kind of give any pointers or criticisms, you know, that kind of thing?
I'd really love to. I just hope my time allow for it, and then you'll be waiting to hear right back from me. And so much things going on, you know, but I would like to.
Okay.
But yeah. So if you want to, and I'll try, and even if it's just one, don't try to send me 3 to critique. What you can do is once you've converted it to video, upload it to your OneDrive.
Okay.
And share the link so that, because sometimes the file may be too large to send as an attachment in the PowerPoint. And because I do believe that, giving feedback helps you to get better as well. And you may have a new technique that I don't know about. New ways to do different things. So yeah, I definitely like to, but just knowing that you don't have to, just staying ahead of time. Now, what you can do is work with your team as well. But
Okay.
if you, to get some feedback from them. But in terms of me, you can do so.
Okay. Thank you.
For one,
Ms. Wilson, will a recording of this session be made available?
the recording for this session, yes. So once it's finished processing on the cloud, I hope everyone put your email in the chat if you haven't already, just so that I could just pull it from the chat and send it through email that way. So if you haven't sent in your emails, oh, and don't forget, you do have, if you're in the primary level, you will have tech coaches on your team as well, okay? Who can also help with, giving you tech tips and pointers on your video, okay?
Okay. And will we be able to upload these videos to our personal YouTube page and share the link to the web portal from there to the ministry?
Absolutely, if that's what you want. This is you.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's great to add to your personal portfolio. All we want is the content.
Okay.
We want the children to have access. Now, when we click on that link, it say pay $1 for access, then we're gonna have a problem.
Okay.
Because all of the other videos that we use, we just provide a link to the person's YouTube page. Now, if you don't have a YouTube page, you don't know how to do it, you don't care for it, and you just want to be like, when I'm finished with this video, this is yours.
Yes.
Then fine. But one of the things I feel, with the amount of work that you're doing to produce this is part of your portfolio.
Okay.
This is what you produce, and I think that you can and should get credit for it. You can see how many views you get, stuff like that. It's good for you as a professional and the individual, and you grow.
Okay. Thank you.
Good morning, Ms. Wilson. I know you're about to wrap up and you've done this already, but for clarity, I would appreciate greatly if you can demonstrate one more time how to convert the PowerPoints to the MP4 and how do I access the link and all of these different
great things you spoke of just now. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. Let me go over that right quick one more time. And then I'll also show how to upload to your OneDrive to get the share link. I think that's important as well. So let's go into share screen. Let's see if this video is done converting as yet. All right, so it's finished converting because I can see that that message is gone. So let me use another PowerPoint because that's already converted. Let's use this, the copyright one. Okay, so let's pretend that I've already done the recording. I come into File and Export. And then you have the various file formats that you can, of course, you would name the file, which is the video, and you'll say where you want it to be saved. And then you want to change it to MP4. Let's just use MP4 instead of MOV. But MP4 is, let's make that the standard. And once you click that, I don't have recorded timings on this because I didn't record the lesson, and that's why this isn't selected. So you would select use recorded timings and narration and then just export. Because I don't have recorded narration, then it will automatically play each slide for 5 seconds. That's what this is telling me. And once you press export, it begins to convert. All right, you good, Gail? All right, next, let's show you.
Yes, thank you very much.
No problem. All right, now let me show you how to upload to your OneDrive. So I'm certain all of you are using your ministry issued email that allows you access to Office 365 online, where you have lots of space and you don't have to worry about losing things on your jump drive. Once you log in, you come into your dashboard. This is your dashboard. And you see this app here. It's called OneDrive. This is like your cloud jump drive. The jump drive, you know, that stores in the cloud. So you can access it on your phone. You could access it home. You could access it to work once you log on to your account. Now, your OneDrive account is private to you. Nobody, no one, not at the ministry, nowhere in Microsoft, as far as I know, can access your OneDrive, okay? You share what you want. And so here inside my OneDrive, this, as you can see, it's just like an Explorer window when you open up your File Explorer. And then you come here to File, Upload, sorry, and you say File. And I just, where did I save that video? I think that was on my jump drive as I was doing that science video lesson. Resources MP4, that's the one. This is the video that was recorded when I did my, in the PowerPoint just now. And I can see that it is now labeled MP4. And now I'm choose upload and see it letting me know right here, it's uploading to my document. And very soon, once it's done, it will come up here inside your Explorer. So yeah, it even has a timer, so it's not gonna take very long. Boom. Now, once it's finished, you see it here. It actually asked you just now if you wanted to share the link. I came out of that. That will come up. You could say yes from there, but you can also come right here.
I'm saying check the other people in the class. Only you. Me. I can say I have a question. Ms. Sanders checking with all of you all because.
Okay. So you select the file that you want to share, and then what you do is you press share. Now you can do two things. You can just put in my email address here, or Now, pay attention to this, guys. This is important. Anyone with the link can edit. And this is for other things, like if you're sending a Word document or you're sending a, an editable document or file, sometimes what you want to do is click onto that and make sure turn off allow editing. Okay, that's just for other files. But for the sake of this video, it don't matter. I can't edit the video because you send it as an MP4. It's already sealed as an MP4. And so you can copy the link, and that's the link, that's one. Or you could just simply use this, once you select it, you see here, copy link again. It produces a link, and like I said, you could look out for this. Anyone with the link can edit. It doesn't matter for a video, but when you're sharing other files, if you want them to be able to edit it and change your online copy, because that's what editing allows. It changes your online copy. Taking the allow editing off forces the person to download it, and then they make their changes from that. All right? And once you do that, you can say you press apply, that generates the link. You copy that link, and then you can go over into your email, and you can just send a new message, paste it, and that's your video there, and then you get it. And that's how you can share it without trying to send the file. And I just like to say, this is how you can share any resource that you have on in your OneDrive, that same way.
Sorry, I have a question. So once the PowerPoint has been, or the video has been created, we send it to you?
No, you're working with your teams, your curriculum teams, and so you will send it to them. I was just showing how to send.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, so we're at that 1 hour mark. I promised that it would only be 1 hour. So 2 things I'm doing for you after the session. I'm going to send you the link to the recording for this video. And then I'm also going to send you that PDF of the copyright information. And that's it. I don't know, is it something else? Oh, and then sometime by the end of the week, we'll have a date for when we'll have a follow-up.
Excellent, very informative.
Yeah, perhaps take you all up a notch, because that's
there you go.
That was basic.
Wow, excellent.
All right, so thank you very much for joining this session today. We really appreciate the hard work that you all are doing to help create content for our students during this pandemic. And that's why I say, definitely catalog what you're doing, create your portfolio, and, this will really speak to, your contributions to education. All right. Thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of your day.